Hi everyone, my name is Kate Law and I am the Student Conduct Process Coordinator at the Office of the Dean of Students, and I am here to introduce Bashir.
Hello everyone, my name is Bashir Utabi. I am majoring in health science and psychology. I work at Boise State student, especially in alcohol education program. As we all know, April is Alcohol Awareness Month, and we have Emily today, and we are going to discuss alcohol issue with college students. I will have Emily introduce herself, and then we will go over some questions regarding alcohol.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kate and Bashir. My name is Emily Gravel Fletcher. I work in the office of BroncoFit, which is the wellness division within University Health Services. As a health educator here at Boise State, I oversee things like alcohol education and sexual health and mental health and resiliency. So I'm really excited to be here. So thank you for having me.
Good. Thank you, Emily, for giving us this opportunity. First question, do you think college student drinking is a serious problem in Boise State's community, and why, if so?
Sure. So the overconsumption of alcohol is always a key issue among college students because it's such a dangerous behavior, over consuming alcohol. It astronomically leads to an increased risk of harm to yourself and others. So in general, overconsumption of alcohol is a key issue. Here at Boise State, we actually have some promising statistics. So the National College Health Assessment, which is run every other year through the Office of BroncoFit, actually lets us know that we're doing pretty good with alcohol consumption. We know that the last time students reported drinking, 74.6 of them actually reported drinking few or 4 or fewer drinks in one sitting, which would be considered a safer amount to drink. However, that means that over 25% didn't follow that recommendation. So it definitely is still an issue. And for a little bit of context, that 74-ish% is lower than national standards. So we also know on the flip side of that, let's see, I have some stats pulled up. The last time students reported drinking, 7.4% actually reported drinking 7 or more drinks in one sitting, which would be considered extreme alcohol consumption. So that is that is concerning. That is a little bit lower than the national average, which is around 10%. But still, to be clear, the overconsumption of alcohol is a really dangerous behavior, and any statistics showing that it's happening at any number on our campus is alarming to me.
Okay. What factors led a student to be binge drink?
Sure. So binge drinking, I think it might be helpful to kind of define that really quickly. So binge drinking, first and foremost, is the exact same thing as toxic drinking. It's putting your body at risk for alcohol poisoning. So that is 4 or 4 or more drinks in 1 2-hour sitting for women, and 5 or more drinks in a 2-hour sitting for men. And that's standard drinks. So what can lead students to choose to drink more than is what is safe is peer perceptions, quite honestly. College culture in general really promotes binge drinking. And I'll walk that through really quickly. So the example I always give is to think about different movies that take place in college. And a lot of times you don't see students being really studious and studying for tests. You see these big, wild parties. You see this expectation that college is supposed to be for drinking. You're supposed to manage drinking and academics all at the same time. And so peer perceptions, meaning everyone around you expects that, culture expects that, and so people do it more. If it was really not culturally appropriate to binge drink, I think we'd have a lot fewer issues with it, but that's just the unfortunate reality. I also think that there's some pretty damaging misconceptions about what binge drinking is. So again, I mentioned that it's only 4 and 5 standard drinks in 2 hours, and that's the cap for the night, right? So it's not as much alcohol as a lot of students think it is. That's putting your body at some serious risk.
Okay. How can we educate students about safe drinking practices?
Sure. So I really believe that education efforts should be focused around honest discussions about drinking. So, for example, as the health educator here at Boise State, I fully recognize that things like underage drinking and binge drinking are happening. I think that's part of the discussion that we need to be pretty forward thinking that that's happening. So, let's talk about it. I also think it's up to us as staff members to educate students early. So, for example, taking that alcohol EDU class when you're an incoming student member under the age of 22 is actually really important because it talks to you or it discusses drinking patterns that are healthier so that you can make these decisions earlier in your college career. And lastly, I think having these resources available to students as they're curious is important. So information about alcohol education is actually always living on the BroncoFit website. So boisestate.edu/BroncoFit houses the alcohol education page that talks about things like, hey, are there actually health benefits to drinking? What do I do if my friend has alcohol poisoning? And also questions like, when do I call 911? So those are resources always available to students.
Good. What does moderate drinking means?
Yes. So first and foremost, moderate drinking is considered drinking habits that don't put you at as much risk for things like harm to yourself and others. So for men, that is only 2 or less drinks per day, per week. And for women, that is 1 drink per day. And that is considered, again, safer alcohol consumption rates. And there's also some growing evidence that that limit of drinking might actually have health benefits, specifically for cardiovascular health.
Okay. What is a standard drinking in United States?
Yes. So first, let me say the standard drink rates are how much alcohol, pure alcohol, is in each drink. So it's 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, and 1 to 1.5 ounces of liquor. And those different types of drink all have the same amount of ethanol, pure alcohol, sugar in them. So, for example, if a beer was 12 ounces, right, that has the exact same amount of alcohol as that 1 shot. So again, it's 12, 5, and 1.5 ounces. And you can also find those standard drink sizes on our website that I mentioned earlier.
Okay. Why it is important for students to know what is a standard drinking mean?
Sure. So it's really important to know what a standard drink is so that you can count your drinks throughout the night. So I mentioned before that binge drinking is considered 5 or 5 or more drinks for men, 4 or more drinks for women in one sitting. So how can you even know if you hit that 4 to 5 mark if you don't know how much you're drinking? So an example, mixed drinks, right? I have a mixed drink and I put it in red Solo cup. Well, I didn't actually count how many shots are in there. So if I only had 1 shot, which would be 1 standard drink of a mixed drink, that 1 ounce line is actually that really tiny line at the bottom of the red Solo cup. That's about 1 ounce, the rim, the tiny little rim at the bottom. So if I fill that red Solo cup more than that, so even 25% or more, you're drinking 4 or 5 drinks in 1 drink, right? So it's really important to have that general guide to help you choose to drink safely.
Cool. What is the amnesty? Did I say it right?
Amnesty, yeah.
Boise State.
Sure. So amnesty policy is something all students should be aware of. So I think to talk about what amnesty is, I first will describe what it's not. So amnesty policy is not a no questions asked policy. What amnesty is it's a policy that sets you up to call for help, even if you think you've made some poor decisions yourself. So for example, if you're underage and you've been drinking too, but your friend needs help, if you call for help, we won't get you in trouble, right? So in trouble, again, does not mean we won't ask questions. It does not mean that there might not be some consequences, but it does mean that we will protect you because we recognize that you made the right decision. So there are actually 3 different levels of amnesty that you as a student could potentially be protected from. So Boise State has an amnesty policy that covers all students. Boise Police Department has an amnesty policy that covers you being in Boise. And then if you're a Greek life member, your chapter actually has an amnesty policy as well. So what that does is, again, setting you up to be safe. If you need to call for help, call for help.
Nice. Well, thank you, Emily, for participating with us in this program, and thanks for sharing your useful info and for your time. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Bashir and Kate.
Thank you so much, Emily. And could you share your BroncoFit website one more time?
Absolutely. It's boisestate.edu/BroncoFit.
Thank you.